Welcome to Season 2 of the Spotlight series, Don't Just Survive, Thrive. Most of us have experienced challenging times in our lives, particularly over the last few months of 2020. The key is how we choose to respond, whether we merely survive or thrive. My name is Nicola Steel, founder of JJP Talent Solutions, an Australian IT recruitment company. With over 20 years' expertise, I provide insights on how you can transform your career to the next level. The focus of Season 2 is around reinvention and how we can thrive in the new normal. In this podcast, I speak to experts from a variety of professions, including HR, technology, marketing, and business coaching. I don't have all the answers. However, collectively, we can instill hope, clarity, and inspiration. I hope you enjoy listening. I'm delighted to introduce Bianca Dillon. Bianca is the founder of Be Content Marketing. She's a certified inbound marketeer obsessed with digital technology. In this episode, Bianca and I discuss the magic of inbound marketing, lead nurturing, and marketing automation. Bianca, thank you for joining me on Season 2, Episode 10 of the Spotlight series, Don't Just Survive, Thrive.
Thanks for having me, Nicola.
My pleasure. Bianca, please tell me more about your background and what you do.
Yes, well, when I was counting it up, I realised that I've been working in marketing for more than 20 years now. And I joined inbound marketing about 7 years ago. I was really drawn to inbound marketing because it's just a very smart methodology. It's all about building value with customers. And I see that as such an important part of marketing, particularly in this day and age when, the marketplace is so competitive. In the private sector, with government, with not-for-profits, and of course, it really doesn't matter which sector you're working in. Customers are at the heart of your marketing. So I started Be Content back in 2014 with the aim of really bringing inbound and content marketing to businesses. So we help businesses create inbound and content strategies. We help help them implement marketing automation software and help them scale up their marketing efforts. Our specialty is HubSpot, which is marketing automation software, and that has applications across CRM, sales, customer service, and marketing. And so, as a movement, inbound's really taken off in the last few years, and it's quite an exciting space to work in. It's evolving every day, and I like it that there's sort of always something different to be working on.
Fantastic. And it is quite scary when you realise that you've done something for over 20 years and think, oh my goodness, where's the time gone? So in terms of inbound marketing, you tell me a little bit about it then, although I think there was a slight glitch in the system, so in the recording system. So just tell me a little bit more about what you love about inbound marketing and lead nurturing.
Absolutely. Well, inbound marketing is all about drawing customers into your business and then nurturing them to create an ongoing, really valuable relationship. So we use content published on websites, on social media, through emails and other digital channels to attract leads, and then marketing automation software to effectively nurture those leads along their sort of buying journey towards actually making a purchase from you and becoming a customer. So the aim is not just to turn strangers into leads and then into customers, but actually it's about building a really strong customer base who will be repeat buyers. They might also become referrers and advocates of your business. So in inbound marketing, we talk about really delighting customers, and that's at the heart of what we're doing with all of our marketing strategies, is this idea of delighting customers. So lead nurturing is a really important part of that process. It focuses on building relationships with your prospective customer with the goal of earning their business when they're ready to buy from you. And there's lots of different ways that you can nurture a lead. The main tools we use are lead management, like a CRM tool that stores information about your leads and customers, an email marketing platform, lead scoring to identify who are your warm and even hot prospects, and marketing automation software that lets us bring all of these elements together. So I think it's really clever. It's using a really solid sort of marketing methodology, but also new technology to be able to scale this in businesses and make it easier for marketers to do this more efficiently. And we know that effectively nurturing can have a really significant impact on the results of your inbound marketing strategy. And it really does help build more loyalty, customer retention, revenue, and a lot of other advantages for businesses.
Excellent. So it's much more relationship driven, much more long term, not focused on quick wins.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we know that those relationships can then be really valuable over time.
And as well, I think that it's much more fun. It's much more engaging having that longevity rather than just a quick win, so to speak.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And you talk about content. So why is it all about content with regards to inbound marketing?
Yes, well, content is absolutely the centerpiece of inbound marketing. We know that most people will start their journey to actually making a purchase with online research. It's so accessible to us now. We've got devices all throughout our homes and in the palm of our hand. So this is where content can really help. We start by understanding what it is that people are searching for, the questions they're asking, and really getting to the heart of the challenge that they're trying to solve. And then we can create content that addresses those questions and really capture people's attention to start to build that trust and that relationship. We know that generally speaking, it can take sort of 6 to 8 different touch points to generate a viable sales lead for a business. So each of those steps requires a different piece of premium content that really speaks to the customer in terms of their wants and their needs and their concerns. The type of content that you create will really depend on your audience and how they want to research things related to your business or your industry. And that could be anything from blog articles on your website, videos, ebooks, case studies, checklists, infographics, podcasts like this, you name it. So it's important to really understand who your audience is and match the content and the format of the content to where that person is in their buying journey. So really getting the right content to the right people at the right time.
Absolutely. And I guess as well, in terms of the content, some people like to read, some people like to listen, some people like to see. So I guess it does have to be a video or a podcast or a blog article and getting the message across in several different ways.
Yeah, and I guess really understanding who those ideal customers are, because if you take the time to drill down into that, it starts to become self-evident, I think, where, those different formats will be more valuable depending on who that person is and how they want to consume content.
Absolutely. And then obviously the different platforms
Yeah.
and what have you.
And the nice thing about doing it that way is that, as marketers, when we have conversations with people and our clients, there's a lot of discussion around different tactics and different platforms. And often people feel like they need to be on all the social media channels and, lots of other things as well. But of course, that can be quite time consuming and costly and not necessarily the most effective way of growing your business. So bringing it back to who is the audience, like where are they, what are the platforms that they're using, and then creating the right content for that platform, for that audience.
Absolutely. And also you talk about the buyer journey. So tell me a little bit more about that.
Yeah, so the buying journey is really just the process that people go through when they're deciding to make a purchase. In inbound marketing, we kind of define this in 3 stages as awareness, consideration, and decision. So in the awareness stage, your buyer is trying to identify their challenge or an opportunity that they want to pursue. They're also deciding whether or not this particular goal or challenge is actually a priority for them. And so their initial research is going to help them identify whether it is a priority or not. And then they'll move into the consideration stage. And here the buyer knows that they've got a problem that needs to be solved or a goal that they're trying to reach, and they actually are committed to addressing that goal. Most importantly here, though, they're ready to evaluate different approaches, the products and services that are available to them to help pursue this particular goal or solve this challenge. And so it's really in the consideration stage of the buyer's journey that there's much more extended engagement when you're nurturing a lead. You really want to build that relationship and establish that trust during this consideration phase. And then in the final stage, which is decision, your potential customer knows what the range of solutions are available to them to address their problem or goal. So they know the what, if you like, but they still need to determine which one or the who can best solve that problem for them. So as you can see, kind of along that journey, the goals, the mindset of the potential buyer is changing quite a bit as they transition from one stage to the next. That's the buyer's journey. And our job as marketers is to really nurture leads through this journey from one stage to the next.
And I guess with that, what's really important is consistency. So you're getting a consistent message across, and also doing things at the right time. So if you jump in too quickly, you could maybe repel potential clients.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's where your own research into your audience is so important. And keeping those stages in mind, really understanding what's driving people's decision making at each of those stages, and as you say, like how long they need to make a decision. Some products and services are going to have a much shorter buying journey, in which case you need to condense your touch points and the type of content into a much shorter time frame. And obviously for other purchase decisions, they could be anything from 6 to 12 months, depending on the size of the product or service that they're considering. And so understanding the time frame of the journey as well as each of those stages really helps you get a better result.
Definitely. It's like the analogy of going into a bar and meeting somebody. You're not going to ask them to marry you within 5 minutes or to come home with you or whatever.
Absolutely. That's the single quickest way to scare somebody off.
Yeah, absolutely. And I hear a lot, you need a landing page. You need a landing page. What is the purpose of a landing page?
Yeah, so landing pages are such a valuable tool for marketers on a business website. Their primary purpose is to actually capture leads. So generally that's going to be done by making an offer of some kind, for example, to download a piece of content like an ebook or a checklist, or maybe it's even to like request a free demo. And then to get the person to complete just a short form, their name, their email address, and maybe one or two other sort of key pieces of information. So this is the most important way for marketers to actually gather leads off a website. If you know who your customer is and you've got a few key pieces of information about them, it's going to be much easier to continue to nurture them as a lead. And as we touched on before, to start providing that more targeted, personalised information in a much more timely way and really building on that relationship. So your main goal with the landing page is to get customers to fill out the form. You want to remove as many distractions as possible. You want to give them enough information to make that decision to fill out the form, but not so much that they're taken away from that sort of objective that you've got. And as with all the other content in inbound marketing, the content of the landing page really is dictated by who your audience is, looking at their interests, understanding their language, and understanding the challenge and issues that they're facing, and then tailoring the content offer on the landing page to that. Because once you've captured their name and address, you can really dig in with some lead nurturing that's highly targeted and gives you a much better chance of moving them closer to becoming a customer.
Yeah, definitely. And I think as well as a consumer with a landing page, there are two things that really put me off. First of all, if the landing page, you're on the website and it appears straight away and you're trying to read something, keep deleting it because you actually are trying to find some information.
Yeah.
And the other one is when it's just overly complicated or they want all the details rather than keeping it simple.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because I think in both of those examples, it's inbound marketing that's actually not being used exactly as it should be. Because if you really do understand like the person that you're trying to communicate with, understanding like the timeliness of things, the fact that they might need to actually read a bit more on your website before an offer is popped up. I'm the same. I find that not just distracting, but really annoying because it's rushing too quickly towards trying to get me to commit to something. And really, it's quite similar to the bar analogy. You need to sort of nurture these relationships over time. And, obviously it's very tempting to be a bit impatient and try and like cut to the conversion, but that's actually not going to suit a lot of people and you don't want to scare people off. So taking your time with those steps and simplifying the offer on the page is, I think, really critical to getting conversions on a landing page.
Absolutely. And I was thinking the same thing about the bar analogy as well. So I've got my landing page. I've kept it simple and unintrusive. So I've got all these leads. How do I use marketing automation to then nurture them and convert these leads?
Yeah, so I read a really interesting stat recently that a person is 21 times more likely to become a qualified lead when they're contacted by a business within 5 minutes versus 30 minutes after they've taken an action on your website. So 21 times more likely to become a qualified lead if they're contacted in 5 minutes versus half an hour. And I think, that's where marketing automation becomes so critical because most businesses are not going to be able to reach out to a prospect in the first 5 minutes of them taking an action online. I mean, firstly, that could be any time of the day or night. Mm-hmm. And, if you're busy doing something else or your sales and marketing team is busy doing something else, that's not going to happen. But obviously with marketing automation, you can set up no end of automated but also personalized emails that can immediately go out to prospects, as well as easily alerting your team to the fact that there is a new lead that's been registered. So my go-to marketing automation platform is HubSpot. They're a market leader in this field. And with HubSpot, I can build automated lead nurture workflows or campaigns that really align all of my marketing efforts or my clients' marketing efforts in one place. So I guess a really simple example of this would be a lead on your website downloads a piece of content called The Ultimate Guide to Creating a Website. And then using marketing automation, you schedule an email with a follow-up piece of content about building and launching a new website for them to receive just a few minutes later. So it's about making sure that that lead gets the most relevant messages and content from you at the most opportune time for them, meaning when they're right in the middle of their research phase and they're actually hungry for content. So using HubSpot, we can build lots of different automated workflows that are designed to do different things like cover off specific topics, which that was an example of, and also to gauge what a contact is interested in by what they then open and engage and read. We can deliver really valuable content and offers at each stage of the buying journey. And also we can engage hot leads who are in their final stage. And interestingly, you can even use marketing automation in this lead nurturing process to actually re-engage cold leads. So, if you're looking at your pipeline for your business and you're thinking, okay, it'd be good to see if we could ramp up things a bit over the next few months. Maybe there's some cold leads in your database that aren't actually haven't gone away, but they just need to be re-engaged with some fresh content, maybe some fresh offers, and see what interest you can get from doing that.
Fantastic. And it's all automated, so it takes out the time and effort there. So at what point would you suggest a person needs to get involved, contact that potential lead?
Yeah, it's such a great question, because obviously what we don't want to take out of this is the human interaction and actually the relationship, because as we know, that's actually the critical thing that we're trying to build. So we're really using marketing automation around the edges of the relationship, able to deliver content more quickly, and in a timely way for people, and also to be able to personalize that content based on the actions people have taken that we can track on a website. So the question of when a person should become involved in the process actually comes down to the buying journey for your specific audience and your ideal customer and for your business. So as we kind of touched on before, every business is going to have a slightly different kind of buying journey depending on what their product or service is and the audience that they're targeting. So we definitely want to make sure that people in your business become involved in the sales and marketing discussion at the right time for customers. So that could be after only 2 or 3 touch points with marketing automation, or for some businesses that could be after 6, 8 or even 10 touch points. So it really does depend on the customers that you're targeting and your specific business.
Fantastic. So we've been nurturing some new customers, but what about existing customers? How should we go around nurturing them?
Yeah, I really love this kind of aspect of lead nurturing, because we can spend a lot of time finding new customers in general and looking to completely new customers that we've never had any interaction with before. But as it turns out, you can actually find customers from within your existing database, and some of these lead nurturing strategies and certainly marketing automation can help you do that. I suppose there's a few differences though. Like, for example, if you are nurturing just new leads, that might be happening after there's a first conversion. So after they filled out a form on your website, after they download a content offer, after they subscribe to your blog, maybe they've requested a demo or a trial, or maybe, as we said before, you're looking at some re-engagement of some kind of colder leads. But then if you want to talk about nurturing your customers, perhaps that's happening during an onboarding process with your business, or maybe it's around a specific product or service education. Obviously, if you're launching a new product, you would want to reach out to your existing customers, and you can build some automation around that. And maybe there's things like support resources that would be really helpful to your existing customers. And also asking your existing customers for a referral, re-engaging customers that you haven't spoken to for a while, getting some feedback from them. And obviously, if there's a renewal for your service or your subscription, using some marketing automation to nurture people at that point in the relationship as well.
Definitely. And don't forget about your current customers, which obviously you really, really do need to nurture as well.
It's interesting, isn't it? And I think people can be quite aware of that feeling, like they've sort of been left behind a little bit while businesses are focusing most of their time and energy on totally new business. So I love that these kind of strategies, as well as some really great marketing automation software, can help you build some campaigns around nurturing existing customers that, again, are sort of low touch from your actual team. You build these campaigns, and then they are doing a lot of the heavy lifting behind the scenes. And of course, like we were talking about before, you still then want your team to come into that conversation, even with your existing customers. But with marketing automation, it's doing some of the initial work for you behind the scenes.
So in terms of examples of really winning lead nurturing campaigns, can you give me some examples of ones that have really impressed you?
So ideally, you're going to want to use a combination of tactics that really are aligned to your ideal buyer, and adding to that a really great understanding of what they're going to need at each stage of their journey, starting with really targeted content, as we've talked about. So, being a bit intriguing, a bit entertaining, working to sort of delighting people with content is a really great aim to have. And, targeting that right audience so that you're identifying the most qualified leads. And then thinking about like the multi-channel lead nurturing strategy. So making sure that you're not just relying on something like email, but actually other channels where your prospects are and reaching them there. And of course, multiple touches as well. So we said, it could take 6 to 8 touch points to convert somebody into a customer, using the right mix of content types and channels to increase those interactions and engagement with that target audience. Being really timely with the follow-up. So following up your leads, keeping them engaged and interested, using marketing automation to do that, but then having your sales and marketing team jump in as required to those conversations, being personalized in your emails, and really, honestly, in this day and age, anywhere else you can use personalization, like across your website or in social media, really using that to promote a bit more sort of customer retention. Lead scoring is a really critical part of any winning lead nurturing campaign. So you need to employ a scoring strategy that helps you determine who's a warm lead, who's a hot lead, where are the leads that we should be focusing our time and energy on as they move forward towards making a purchase decision. And I guess a really important part of that too is aligning the sales and marketing team's efforts to make sure that as leads the business and then are nurtured and ideally converted into customers, you've got those two functions working really closely together. That all of these strategies together will make lead nurturing extremely effective. And honestly, I'd encourage your listeners to start experimenting with some of these tactics.
Yeah, I'm going to. And we, as we're all aware, we're in a pandemic at the moment, and we've had to pivot has been one of the key words over the last few months. So can you give some live examples of your clients that have successfully pivoted their lead nurturing campaigns over the last few months?
Yes, it's certainly been a really interesting and challenging time for marketers, I think. Most of my clients have been focused on content creation and getting the timing right for their communication with customers and prospects. So it has really been about taking a step back and asking, what is it that my leads and customers need to know right now? What's presenting a challenge or a problem in their business? And how can we help to address that with the right content? So, as we've been talking about, actually understanding your audience and your ideal customer is always important. But it's even more so, I think, in more challenging times. People are stressed, as we know, they're overwhelmed, and you want to support them, but not add to the overwhelm with too much content or delivering it at the wrong time, which unfortunately can be easily done, I think. So what I've been working on my clients with is using marketing automation tools and their CRM to really segment their audience as much as possible. That's a really foundational principle of marketing, as all marketers listening would know. But sometimes we can maybe become a bit lazy with our segmentation. But I think now is the time to really come back to those core principles, focus on who's engaged with our content, who wants to hear from us, and who is already showing us through their actions that they need less. And then making sure that we're actually fulfilling that, So that's the basis of good inbound marketing, regardless of whether there's a pandemic or any other environmental situation that's impacting on businesses. Really, I guess how that's translated is that previously planned campaigns are on hold. I've been working with my clients to develop new content and campaigns that are really designed to help people in their business through this time. So the type of content and the topics has shifted a little bit to sort of address some of these key issues. There's certainly been a lot of website updates. So, creating entire hubs of information around the pandemic, a lot of articles that have been created on very specific niche topics to do with the pandemic, and also hosting a lot of webinars online. Obviously with in-person events cancelled, webinars have really ramped up with my clients. But we're actually seeing really good engagement from webinars and some of those leads turning into new business. So that's just been really nice to watch. And also one of my clients took the step of implementing a hotline, which was promoted on their website, specifically for prospects and customers looking for information related to the pandemic. So that's another example of how you can get your team together to provide some really timely, relevant content to people that's very helpful in helping them through this time, but also as they're trying to work out which supplier they might need to purchase things from.
Definitely. And again, being helpful and relationship driven rather than quick win driven.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, thank you very much for sharing your insights, Bianca. Is there anything else that you'd like to share at all?
I just wanted to let everybody know that HubSpot has got some really fantastic resources on inbound marketing and lead nurturing, including free online courses. So I would encourage anyone who's interested in the topics to Google either HubSpot inbound marketing or HubSpot lead nurturing and check out the resources that are available. It's a really great way to start to understand how these strategies and tactics work and some of the opportunities that there might be for your business. And of course, I love talking about this stuff. And so I'd be more than happy to chat to anybody who wants to know about inbound marketing and lead nurturing and how this can help grow your business. And you can reach out to me on LinkedIn or via my website.
Fantastic. Well, what I will do is include your website and your LinkedIn profile in the show notes so that people can contact you. Thank you very much, Bianca.
Wonderful. Thank you.
I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Please remember to subscribe, rate, and review. If you're looking for career advice, your next career opportunity, or to grow your tech team, then please call me, Nicola Steel, on 0499 773 546, or go to our website, jjptalent.com.au. The Don't Just Survive, Thrive podcast is part of the Spotlight series, which includes the YouTube channel, Spotlight on Software Development. If you want more insights into the software industry, particularly tech startups, then subscribe to the Spotlight on Software Development YouTube channel. Thank you for listening. Until next time.